in the last 48 hours, we have received report. Two people have been deported. One is awaiting deportation. First, it was changed to the student dependents. Second, by carers. Now, as we approach the general election in the coming months, it appears that the political climate has changed significantly. You may be hearing more reports about deportation in the coming months. My name is Francis. If you see my face for the first time, the Launch Club main goal is to inform and educate you. Today, we've got three stories that you may learn, or you may know someone who may learn from these stories. We've got a Nigerian guy who has just been deported. The reason he was deported as follows. This gentleman came to the UK as a student. He couldn't fund his education. The university have been writing him to find out what was going on with him. This gentleman was in a car with someone who recently arrived in the UK as a carer. This person has been in the UK for 15 months. He came in with international driver's license. He was driving the car in the UK and the police stopped him. This other guy that came in as a student was a passenger in the car. When the police asked him why he was driving and wasn't obeying the traffic rules, he became agitated, and the police asked him for his driver's license, not knowing that international driver's license only allows you to drive for 1 year in the UK. This gentleman, the police now told him that he has been here for 15 months. He should not be driving with his international driver's license. While during this conversation, the other guy that sat on the passenger seat, the police officer asked him for his ID. When he brought his ID, the police officer did background check, only for the police officer to be told that this gentleman, his university has reported him to the Home Office that he did not attend his study, and they have declared him that his visa has been cancelled. So because this gentleman was with this guy who was driving with international driver's license, which he was not supposed to be driving with, having been in the UK for more than 12 months, that other guy that was a passenger has been deported back to Nigeria because his university has already reported him to the Home Office that he was no longer studying. So that is lesson number one. Now, this gentleman that was driving with international driver's license that he wasn't supposed to be driving with, he has got himself into a little trouble now because he resisted arrest and he was arguing with the police officer. He's been arrested. Luckily for him, he will not be deported. But the other gentleman is now back in Nigeria. The other man, for those of you that like to go to parties and you go to parties and then you start fighting and arguing, listen so that you can learn. This other gentleman, his problem started because he went to party. Francis is my name if you see my face for the first time. The sole aim of the Launch Club is to inform, educate, and give you the information for you to legally migrate abroad. This other guy went to a party in Southeast London. He's been here. He's trying to regularize his papers. This party ended around 7, 8 o'clock, but a few people were still around in the party, playing loud music. Neighbors reported them to the police that the music was too loud. The party was supposed to end around 7, 8 o'clock. These people were still playing the music after 8 o'clock in the night, and they reported them to the police. The police came, asked these people to show proof of ID, and they realized that one of the guys that was there, this guy, again, he wasn't supposed to be in the country. They did background check. After doing the background check, they realized again that this guy is not somebody that whom the Home Office declared him that he's not supposed to be in the country. Because of that, he is now back in Nigeria. He's been deported. So if you have any stories like this, please keep them coming. The last 24 hours, when I released a video about Canada, a lot of people have been reaching out to me with different stories. If you have any stories that you want to share, the email is launchclub2023@aol.com. Share the stories. We will assess it. If it meets the threshold, we will share it because we want to educate so that other people do not fall into the same category. So if you know anyone who is living in the UK right now, tell them, share this video with them. They can learn something. The environment in the UK has changed. The immigration is now back on top of the agenda. As we approach the election, you are going to be hearing stories like this. That is the nature of what you are going to be dealing with. As we approach the election, sadly, more stories like this, you're going to be hearing them. So that other guy that was in the party after 8 o'clock, where they were playing loud music and the neighbor called the police, he was arrested and handed over to the immigration. The immigration now asked him, he is now being deported back to India because he was trying to regularize his papers. His papers has expired, but just because he was with the wrong people in the wrong party setting, that is what got him into trouble. The last one, as I'm speaking to you now, he's facing deportation. This one's case is very, very disheartening in the sense that this young man has a valid visa. Listen to this story. He has a valid visa done in Nigeria. He came into the UK. He was stopped at the point of entry. The immigration officer asked him information that was filled in his application. Because his visa was done for him by an agent, the information the response that he gave is different from the information that was filled in his application. So those of you that like using agent, some of the information that he filled, it doesn't correspond. Even though according to him, he was the one that submitted the application, but because the agent filled the application, some of these applications were not a true reflection of the man's circumstances. So when they asked him at the point of entry, they realized that what he was responding was not consistent with what was written in his application. For example, if you were asked, he said in his application that he's coming to the UK. The company that he said he worked is different from what was filled in his application a few months ago. And the guy, because some of these companies, the company is not where he actually worked, the information, his response wasn't consistent. So because of that, he has now got himself into trouble and the immigration did not allow him in. So these are three people. Number one, the first guy's situation is found himself in big situation because he was in a car with somebody who was driving in the UK with international driver's license, which only allows him to drive in the UK for 1 year. And this guy was arguing with the police officer. Even when the officer tried to explain to him, He was arguing with the police officer that he knows more than the officer. That is what got this other gentleman who was in the car into trouble. The other guy is because he went to a party, loud music after 8 p.m. in Southeast London. Police was called. This other guy is in trouble. And this other guy, again, he came in, he was refused because the information in his form was different from what he was responding. So you can learn from all this. The current situation in the UK has changed. You're going to be hearing more stories like this as we approach the election, because the government is trying to give the in public the impression that they are on top of immigration. So share this video with anyone that you know that lives in the UK, or anyone who is planning to come to the UK. They can learn lesson from these three people's experiences. Make sure you leave your comment in the comment section. I want to hear from you. What do you think that these three people could have done differently, which could have changed their outcomes? And what have you learned? If you have any stories like this that you think that people can learn from, share them with me. If you're watching, the email is launchclub2023@aol.com. We will assess it and share. We want to educate people so that they do not make silly mistakes, especially those of you that recently arrived. You're driving with international driver's license, forgetting that you can only drive with international driver's license for a year. After 1 year, you have to take a test or you stop driving in the UK. If you're watching this now, you know anybody who is driving with international driver's license and they have been in the UK for more than a year, tell them they could get themselves into serious trouble when they are stopped by the police. Subscribe to this channel if you're seeing this. Our mission at the Launch Club is to inform, educate, give you the information that will help you to achieve your migration goal. You can also support our new channel, which is about financial independence. We want to help as many people as possible to legally migrate and achieve financial independence. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family, anyone that you know will benefit. If you can help one person, you are doing a great job. Subscribe to this channel. Leave your comment in the comment section. The current situation in the UK now, immigration is on top. A lot of people, unfortunately, are going to fall victim if they are not careful. That is the reality. That is what a lot of people are going to face in the coming months as we approach the election. That is the reality.